Gerard Scarpacey here, co-founder of the Hairbrain community, coming to you live from the Cow Salon Academy, which is in the Meatpacking District, right here in New York City. We're here with one of my dear friends, Mr. Tony Cola.
Hello, how are you guys doing?
Tony and Jeffrey Moffat, who we'll meet in just a few minutes, have been teaching a class here. It's actually been a barbering class this weekend, but tonight Tony's going to share with you some beautiful women's hair cutting. He's going to be putting in an outline, doing some layering, working with some disconnection, putting in a curtain bang. This is our beautiful model, Liana. Say hi, Liana.
Hi.
So Liana's having a little bit of a transformation. I know you guys are going to love it. Now remember, if you have questions, you want to give shout outs, or if you want us to give you a shout out, just be sure to make a comment. So Tony, it looks like you started on the baseline, so tell us what's happening here.
So we're just working in external shape right now. We're working in columns. Our head's forward, so it gives us even tension as we work from the hairline up to the occipital bone and then up to the crown. So I can lay this outline in. I'll then place in my shape inside, since we'll be disconnecting. And then we'll work into our shape through the front, doing some layering, making sure the proportions are balanced, and then placing in a curtain fringe.
All right, so you know right away, some of our good friends already jumped on here. Michael Snyder, what's up?
Hey, Michael.
Sasho's tuned in from London. Great to have you here. Let us know where you guys are watching from. We always like to hear and try to figure out who's furthest away. So far we've got California and London. Let us know where you're watching from. If you're just joining us, we're here live in the Cow Salon Academy in the Meatpacking District in New York City with Mr. Tony Cola, doing a beautiful little transformation here and sharing a lot of technique.
Yes.
So it looks like you're getting started on the baseline,
yes,
which obviously is so important in any haircut. Are there any really important tips that you can share about putting in these outlines or baselines?
I feel that head position is very, very key, and also the way you stand when you're placing in your external shape or your baseline. A lot of times we want to cut something square, we tend to stand off to the sides and in the corners, right? If you stand in the corners, it tends to take off the corner that we're trying to create. So I think body position is important. I try to remain with my shoulders facing certain walls. I'm kind of skewed at the moment, but if I was in the salon, I would try to say this shoulder is going to point at that wall, this shoulder will point at the opposite wall, and that way I can maintain square.
So starting off with a square baseline, and let's get in there so we can really see that technique, because I'm noticing how cleanly you're working. Any tips here on working cleanly and kind of grooming that hair?
I think just working slow and being conscious of what you're doing. We're not trying to rush through this. Really just want to work as cleanly as possible and just really work with intent. We're not just going through just cutting hair and taking sections. I'm making sure I see my guide. You can see it through there. And we're cutting straight across.
Now I notice you hold your scissor in a particular way, and I'm noticing this more and more becoming popular. Can you show, Kelly, can we get a good shot of how Tony holds that shear? Can you explain why, what's the benefit of working with it that way?
Well, first and foremost, it keeps your knuckles from hitting the head as you're trying to create your baseline or your outline. Also for me, I started to get these little cysts on my wrist, so I had to figure out a different way where I wouldn't put any pressure on them, because I want to cut hair for a long time if possible. So just flipping the shear forward just really helped me to alleviate the stress that I had in my wrist. And I'm just using my thumb, and I'm not putting the thumb all the way through the hole for the scissor. So
Awesome.
it just works really nicely.
Awesome. So we're going to give a couple shout outs. We got people watching. We've got Paqui Ortega watching from Spain.
Hello.
We've got Marlo watching from Pittsburgh. We've got Iveta watching from Bedroom Beauty. We've got Italy in the house. Daniela Costa. You want to say something in Italian?
Oh, it's going to sound really bad. I speak dialect.
Yeah.
Ciao. Buona Pasqua a tutti.
Yeah, exactly. We've got Jessica watching from Pittsburgh. Our good buddy Hector Rodriguez is tuned in.
Oh, hey, Hector.
Again, guys, if you're just joining us, we're in New York City. We're at the Cow Salon Academy, which is an incredible facility here with ongoing classes all the time.
Yeah.
Tony's one of the lead educators, along with a whole team. Goldwell and KMS have probably over 50 national educators going through here doing different classes. Now, what you're doing on now, kind of putting in a basic fundamental outline, what would be a great class for people that want to brush up on the foundations?
The fundamentals. I think, our Master Stylist Essential program is a great program for people to take, whether you've been doing hair for 20 years, whether you've been doing hair for 20 months, 2 days. It's a great foundational program for people to take to really just strengthen their skills, or even those that are that are already hairdressing. I think it's a great way to just refocus. Kind of like people talk about this place called the gym a lot. I don't really go, but I've heard about this place called the gym. And they hire a trainer to help them work on their techniques so they can, work out better, lose weight, get stronger. Same thing, come in, hang out with us. We'll help with form and get you guys moving.
So that's the Master Stylist program.
Yes, sir.
And the first first level? It's got multiple levels.
It does. It has 3 levels. You have the Essentials, which is a 3-day program. So it's a Sunday to Tuesday program. Then you go into contemporary shapes and ending with advanced shapes. Now, I guess it's mirrored off of our program Master Colorist that we have. We have stages for Master Colorist that you go through in order to get your final certification. And it goes along with that. It's like a partner series, sibling series, whichever you want to call it. And it's great. We've watched so many people just learn and grow and have a great time here in New York. And it's just been an honor and a privilege to be able to share that with people across the country.
So, Tony, let's talk about what you're doing now. It looks like after you put in your baseline, you started layering right away.
Yes.
What's the reason? And tell us everything about the layering.
So with Liana's hair, we can layer it somewhat, but it lacks some of the density that we might need to maybe go in and do something a little bit more square. So we chose to do something more concave, triangular in shape, and we're just rotating off the center of the back of her head. So we're just pivoting from the center, bringing back to the center, pivoting back out, bringing back to the center, and cutting with a triangle cutting line. So we're leaving density at the bottom and a little bit of light movement. But the over direction back to the center, from here all the way out, back in, helps us to protect the area behind the ear so she doesn't end up with a hole. And she can wear this wash and wear, she can wear this iron, curled, whatever she wants to do, Liana can do with her hair.
So when you're describing Liana's hair, it's on the fine, medium to fine side. So a lot of times people can be really afraid to layer fine hair. So I see that you're kind of elevating really high up away from the outline. That's going to protect the length and the weight?
Yes. So not only is my cutting line protecting the outline, but also the over direction. As the head starts to round away and we're over directing, so we're building more and more length and weight as we work out. So as this layering falls, it's just going to diminish into the outline, so then we can connect, include a little bit of disconnection that runs over the top, so she gets a little bit of swing and sway.
All right, we got to give a shout out to this guy, the Silver Fox, Dale Jinks is watching.
Oh, what's up, Dale?
Our good buddy Dale Jinks. Great to have you here. He says, Anthony Cola, you're one of the best.
Oh, too kind.
Yep. Franco Di Simone is watching. Great to have you here, Franco. An honor to have you watching the technique here from Tony Cola. And then we've got people watching from all over the world. We've got Elvia watching from El Paso. Albie Mulcahy is watching, also an honor to have. Stephen Fight. It's great to have everyone joining together. And that's what this is all about, you know. The whole HB Live thing and all the different people we work with, it's just as much about community as it is about education. So having all you guys watch and tune in here is amazing. Thanks from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's get back into the education now. So if you're just joining us, this is Liana. And Tony Cole is working on her hair. Say hi. Beautiful face, which we're going to get to see very soon.
Yes.
Because Tony's going to be opening her up around the face. But he started in the back with his baseline. Now you're into your layering. I'm going to let you take it away and get into your technical lesson.
Got it. So we started out with a center section from this round-shaped zone. So the zones are going to just be what we use to create where we're disconnecting to, where we're disconnecting from. We're going to work with this zone. We're going to pivot almost like the hands of a clock, as it works out with everything over directing back to the center. I like to work on my left side first, and then I'll work to my right side. As we work, just pivoting like the hands of a clock. Kelly, it might be easier if you see it on this side.
You can turn you around, Tony. Why don't you go this way? Yeah, bring you around here. Make sure everybody at home gets a great angle. And there we go. Money.
Money. Just working that in. Triangle cutting line from shorter to longer, so we leave some weight and outline, which we created.
So what's your tension like here? How important is tension, and how do you gauge it?
So I really just want to let the teeth of the comb do the work for me. They're going to grab the hair, it's going to bring it into my fingers, and then I'm just going to cut.
So fine teeth of a fine tooth cutting comb,
sir.
And you're using generally a light tension, just an even, consistent light tension?
Even, consistent tension. I'm letting my fingers really dictate the tension. I don't want any finger marks. I'm just holding the hair and cutting and releasing.
So we have a question coming in from Michelle Quinn Garcia. She's taken the Master Colorist program.
Yes.
Would love to learn more about the cutting program and where she can sign up for it, which I can help with that if I can't remember.
So you can, hello, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. You can go to the globalkmsregistration.com.
Yeah, you got it.
Got it. So now you can then sign up for the programs, see what we're offering, when we're offering the programs. It's awesome. Come and hang out. We offer them once a month, so you can take essentials, you can take contemporary. Obviously, you have to take essentials first before you get to contemporary and advanced, but you can see when and where they are offered. We also do them in Canada as well, for those that are following from Canada, and all over the world. But for the North America region, you want to go onto globalkmsregistration.com.
Awesome. So again, you got your baseline in. Now you've layered through, protecting the baseline.
Yep.
And you're going to start progressing up into the shape.
Yes.
So are you looking to bring out some wave and movement in her hair?
I'm trying my best to make sure that we can encourage a little bit of movement. She washes.
She's got a pretty. I just saw it just pop right in there.
I know. So just kind of releasing it a little bit. Sometimes you start to work and you're just grooming, you almost straighten it out a little bit.
And that's beautiful to me already.
Yeah.
Just that simple technique.
I like this texture to it. Very simple. But a lot of times we just comb everything into place, and we almost potentially like erase it temporarily. So just releasing it just a little bit. Not doing this because I think that it's just adjusting the shape too much where you're not going to even see it. So just the lift and see if there's a little bit of separation and a little bit of kick. I'm just going to go in and do a little bit of point cutting at this moment, because if I was to do this straight, I would actually dry my zone, do a little detail work, and then we will actually go in and edit the shape. But right now we're going to go in.
So you got some love coming. Got Emerson McCreary watching, says, "What's up, Anthony?" David Pacemaker says, "Love watching you cut."
Oh, thanks, guys.
Evelina Ross says, "It's magic to see your hands." Our good buddy Jeremy Hickson is watching. Always a pleasure to have you with us, Jeremy. So why point cutting? So you work so meticulously clean and got the shape in. Why point cutting now?
I just want to free up a little bit of this weight so it's not a super hard line when it dries. If I was to do this and it was dried, I would then go through, detail a little bit, and tailor the shape a little bit more. So I go in, place my shape, I can see the lines I've created, I can actually look through the hair and assess where there might be a little bit of weight, and then from there I can soften the line a little bit.
Jeremy Hickson always coming in with the great questions. He wants to know, the way you've sectioned the hair.
Yes.
How important is that in the haircut? Like, why did you choose to section right here, and why are your sections vertical?
So the reason I chose to section this way, there's a little bit of movement in the crown. So with disconnection, I like to control the movement. I put it in the top of my zone. So I have control when this lays down, and I don't really have any surprises as I start to dry it a little bit.
And by movement, you mean like cowlicks
yes,
or growth pattern?
Most definitely, yes. Growth patterns such as cowlicks, whorls. It gives a lot more control to that, a little bit of weight there.
Martha is wondering if there's any hair cutting lotion in the hair. Is there anything in there?
No, we did a beautiful color, and we followed up with Carousel Color and Carousel Color Conditioner.
So it's something that I always say too. Sometimes a great shampoo and conditioner is the best way to prep the hair for a great haircut. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just kind of leaving that texture in a perfect. I don't usually use a lot of cutting lotions. Again, if I get the right shampoo and conditioner, it just feels, and you can see here, it's just so smooth and beautiful to work with.
The color ounce definitely helps with making sure that this looks really shiny. It gives really nice, clean partings and such like that.
Here's a great one.
Uh-oh.
This is from Dan Fry. It says, "Tony is like a young Vidal Sassoon if Vidal was Italian and homeless."
Yes.
Love this guy.
Yeah. No, that's a big order to fill. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it.
I'm assuming Dan is a friend.
Dan is a friend of mine. I was waiting for a lot more of my friends to call up and heckle me. So now this is a really important piece right here, is our disconnection. And we can do a couple different things. I think traditionally we look at disconnection as gutting out something and letting something heavier fall over top. But we can utilize the little bit of length underneath to push the hairs on top. So we're going to choose something a little bit closer in length. Her head can still remain down, it's fine. So I'll let my disconnection drop out. I'm going to leave it.
So it's like a second tier of layering?
Yes.
Is it at the same angle, or is it a little bit rounder?
It's about the same angle. So if you were to look at it, they almost come in this way, but they don't intersect or meet. So we work it that way.
And then how do you, the question always comes up when you're creating a new guideline, how do you choose that? How do you know what length it should be?
So I want something to move. I don't want, if the difference in length is really, really far apart, then I need to make sure that, it's not going to sit over the outline. Do I need to chip into the outline once it lays over top? Is it going to smother the layering that I've put underneath? So right now I'm looking at this and it's hanging over. I want to go in and layer just a little bit more, and then we'll clean up the outline once it's complete.
So you bring it up, you cut a little bit, you see how it folds,
yes.
and then you visually decide if you need to take a little bit more. Obviously you try to be cautious, because if you cut it a little too much, so that comes with experience.
It does. I just trust your technique that you're choosing to do. Go through, cut the shape, assess it, understand that right here there's a cowlick, so I need to make sure that I'm not cutting it super duper short, because it's going to jump up and look a lot shorter than I intended it to be.
All right, so we started off pretty fundamental, putting in the baseline and layering, and that's like level 1 of the Master Stylist program, kind of essential cutting.
Yes.
Now you're incorporating some disconnection, because I would imagine in the essential program everything connects.
Yes, it does.
Now you're starting to use some disconnection, so where does that fit into the Master Stylist program?
So the Master Stylist program, a lot of our disconnection focus becomes in our contemporary and advanced shapes. They're going to go through some salon-friendly disconnection with contemporary shapes, and then we expand on disconnection with advanced shapes. So something a little bit more fashion forward, things you still can do in the salon. I'm a firm believer if I'm teaching it to somebody or sharing education with somebody, it should be something that I'm already doing in the salon. I don't like just sharing something just for the sake of it looking cool. I think it's important for value.
We keep going back to the Master Stylist program. Like, how long, if somebody wants to go through that whole process and become a Goldwell certified Master Stylist, how long is the process?
The process can take as little or as long of time as you would like. If you want to go through it all in 1 year, you start in January and then complete it by December.
So you have the classes throughout the year,
yes.
So someone can like start and then follow their way through?
Yeah, most definitely. Can do all of that.
But do they always have to start with essential? Or
you do, yes. It makes a lot more sense. You understand the verbiage. There's a lot of theory and things that go along with essential shapes, which I think is very, very important. And then we build on top of that, the hows and the whys and what's the importance of working cleanly. And it's always amazing to watch the students and attendees come in and see how they've progressed over the months or even the years. There's no time frame of having to complete it in a certain amount of time. But I think, give yourself a little bit of space in between these programs, practice the looks, try them on clients. I tend to feel that once you own it on a day-to-day basis, you feel a lot more comfortable when you come into the academy to work.
So if you're watching at home and you're interested in learning more about the Master Stylist program, head to goldwellkmsregistration.com and you can learn more about the program. I think it's a great thing for those of you that want to go a little bit further in your career. So lots of love coming in. Sharon Blaine is watching. Our good friend Sharon. She says, "Hi guys, great to watch cutting demos."
She's such a nice lady. We had the opportunity.
She's my hairy godmother.
We took a class from her 3 or 4 years ago. She came and did a program for all the artists, and she is such a sweet lady. She was fantastic, so nice, and just watching her hands work was like magic, to say the least. I mean, she was just magical to watch.
Now we've got a question coming in from my dear friend Vilma Subel. She's saying, "Is the objective of the shorter area to support the longer lengths as they fall over?"
Yes.
Yeah. So if you can read, because people are just joining, and they saw you do the underneath, so just kind of catch us up on the whole technique.
So the whole technique, we worked in a round-shaped zone. It sits below the crown, and it ends right behind the ears. As we worked in pivoting sections, everything being over-directed back to the center as our guide. So not only are we getting lots of over-direction to fit in behind the ear so she doesn't have a hole, it's also creating a little bit of movement. The shorter hair will just support the hair coming back on top, and when she wears it wavy, it creates just a beautiful silhouette. It lifts the curls up from underneath, and she can wear it, again, curled. She can wear it straight. She can do it any way she chooses, and everything just looks really, really nice for her. Another
one of our good friends, Anita Lastowski, is wondering if you're over-directing everything back to the center. I think you just said that you are. And again, does that have to do with the fineness of her hair? Like you're trying to kind of protect the outlines, but getting a lot of layering on the inside?
Yes. Just that light concave sort of feel, so the perimeter stays really nice. When we had our consultation via, I guess it was WhatsApp for a little bit, we were chatting about what we were doing, and she described her hair as feeling a little weak when it was overly layered. So I needed to figure out a way to create movement through her shape without just being a solid line.
All right, so this is important now because you cut an outline, you layered in this area, then you did layers that were longer and disconnected and overlapping. Now you're reconnecting to the outline?
Yes. So I have my disconnection that runs through inside, but because of the previous length that sits over, there's a little bit of overhang. And if we go through and just peek, let's just do this. Go through and peek. This kind of drops out. You see where that little bit sits in there that we point cut through. As it starts to dry, it sits up and just creates a little bit of separation as it works. So very salon friendly. It works really well for fine. You can even do this on medium length hair. It doesn't have to be short. Just be mindful of the length that you choose inside. If the length inside is really, really short, as you work out, you could potentially put a hole. So that's just the one watch out for this look.
Here's a question coming in from Sarah Matthews. Does it matter where she parts her hair?
So if she were to part her hair off center, that's a good question. Thank you, Sarah. If she were to part her hair, maybe working this section off of her part line so she doesn't have any issues finding her part. That would just be what I would do. So if she puts it over to the far left or far right, whichever, I would bring everything to that point just to have some concave feel off of that.
And those layers inside, they're kind of long enough that when she moves them around, it's like you have very short layers on the inside when you start to get this misbalance, right?
Yes. It's just finding the balance for what's going to support the head shape. Because if this got too short, it would flatten this out and completely gut the shape. Even though it was concave and we protected the outline, a lot of the density that we have that comes from here would be completely gone. And it might not flatter her head that well.
Big shout out to our buddy Tony Sadiq that's watching, and thank you to everyone else that's watching
thank you
as
so
well.
much.
We always appreciate the support. If you just joined us, I'm Gerard Scarpacey. We're coming to you live from the Cow Salon Academy. It's in the Meatpacking District in Manhattan. It's an incredible facility. It's 2 floors, and there's like a penthouse with windows facing out to some of the most incredible architecture in New York City. Definitely an inspiring place to come and take a class. I've been here many times with the different educators. Tony Cola is one of the lead educators here delivering classes on a regular basis. He helps to deliver a class called the
Master Stylist
program here, which is a really incredible concept because I think it's what so many of us need. It's an in-depth program that has a starting point, it has goals, it takes you along a journey from foundational haircutting to advanced to very creative. And I think unfortunately that's what a lot of us are missing nowadays in the salon. We have to get out there right away and make money, and we don't get the confidence that we need in our training program. But you know, a great academy like this can help you get that while you're already working behind the chair. And I think that that's incredible. All right, so you're coming back into layer the second side.
Yep, let's do the other side.
Let's recap the whole layering technique.
Sure, the whole layering technique. So first we started off with a rounded shape zone. It worked from behind the ear to behind the ear. We started off with the center guide being vertical, and then we pivoted out towards the ear on the left side and pivoted out to the ear on the right side. Everything's directed back to the center, so it's a stationary guide. If you need to tension dry, you may go in and tension dry, flat wrap, whatever you need to do. Do a little detailing. We're going to work with this in a wavy shape. So at this point, we'll be able to just create some texture with some dry cutting or cutting through the curls once it's completely finished. We're going to go through at the very end and put in a curtain fringe.
So what are you teaching here this weekend? I know you're in town here at the Cow Salon Academy. What are you teaching this weekend?
So this weekend we are doing a great program by my buddy Jeffrey Moffitt. It's called Modern Barber. So this program is fantastic for people who want to get into men's grooming but are a little fearful of it. So we we take the fear out of men's grooming for those that might be a little bit scared about it. It's a lot of fun. We do like a long length shape. We do a medium length shape, and then we work clipper work with live models on the last day. So it's a ton of fun.
Do you consider yourself a barber, or how do you look at it?
I just like to cut hair. I don't know if I call myself a barber. I just like
I'm a hair cutter.
I'm a hair cutter.
Got hair, I'll cut it.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yes.
So we got lots of great people watching. MG Education says greetings from Germany.
Hello.
Great to have you watching us. Deanna Fritz is watching, says, what's up, Tony?
Hey, Deanna.
She said something about driving and watching. Hopefully she's pulled over now.
Dina, don't drive and Facebook, please.
Yeah.
We need you at the salon this week.
John Santilli was watching. And do you know John Santilli, Tony?
I have not met John Santilli.
Do you know who he is, though?
I've heard the name many times.
John is, one of the legendary teachers from Sassoon, one of the original teachers when there was a Sassoon Academy. He's one of the first teachers.
Oh, wow.
So he's being watched by
no pressure.
one of the legends.
No pressure.
One of the legends. Now, he's a great guy. He's always got so much great information to share, and you're following in his footsteps as an educator.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. We made my mom get a Facebook just so she could watch this today. Like, she was been anti-social media. So I said, Mom, you got to watch. I'm going to be online. So how do I do it?
Catherine Humble is wondering if you do these classes in Canada ever. She's located in Ottawa.
We do the Master Stylist program in Canada. Yeah. We have a Toronto Academy that is going to be moving into the city shortly. So we have right now it's in Mississauga, and then we'll be heading down to the city. I don't know the exact address, but it will be down in the city of Toronto come this summer.
Our buddies from Slate Hair Education are tuned in. What's up, guys? I'm Michael Pizzolidis. Great to have you joining us. Another great hair cutter who does a lot of education for us.
Follow them, they're cool.
Yep, good people here. Okay, so now again, don't spare us any detail here. So your sections, are they still pivoting?
Now the sections are running just from the front hairline all the way to the back.
So more just like vertically,
yes,
basically. Why change from pivoting at this point?
Because at this point, I want to control the weight that sits on the outline. I just want to create a little bit of light movement. So by bringing everything up to the center, enables the outline to fall without disturbing anything, so it stays nice and strong. I've broken this up just because it's a little bit more hair. So we work back here, everything back to the center, and then I'm going to work to the front and bring everything up to the center just for control.
Stephanie Cola is
I know
wondering,
her, I think, a little bit.
Wondering if you would recommend using a razor for this layering technique.
Yeah, you could definitely use a razor for this technique. I think I would just be conscious of your stroke of the razor. Also be conscious of the head position when you're starting to work. I think when working, especially with a straight edge razor, when you're working this shape, cutting above the head can be slightly a challenge and, might have a little nicks and cuts. So maybe turning the head towards you as you work and elevating this way and cutting down might work a little bit easier for you.
Awesome. They're all joining us now. All our good buddies are here. Steven Statland has joined. Always a
Hey,
pleasure to have
Steven.
Steven. He's been doing lots of great Facebook Live education. If you guys are looking for other people to follow Steven. He's doing fun stuff all the time on his Facebook Live and sharing. And let's see, lots of people are wondering, about where the classes are. So we know they're in New York, we know they're in Canada.
Yep.
People are wondering, does that happen in Texas? Does it happen in San Francisco? Do you take that Master Stylist program all over the country and all over North America?
As of right now, we just do them in Academy. They're done specifically, Academy-specific program. So we do those in New York and Toronto. Also, there's parts of Europe that does it as well.
So
Not in salon.
The Cow Salon Academies right now are New York and Toronto.
Yes.
Those are the locations, which are both fabulous cities, by the way.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to travel for education, which I highly recommend, making an educational experience a journey to an inspiring city can be like life-changing if you've never done it. It's worth every penny.
This is the greatest city in the world, man. Come to New York. It's a lot of fun, very inspiring, lots of cool people.
All right, so again, now everything gets over-directed to the center, and
Everything
why?
over. Just so as this falls, everything wraps over the round of the skull, falls down, and protects the perimeter. So as this falls, we can see it's a triangular line. It falls down into the outline.
We'll come around this way so you can really see that. There's that beautiful face. I can't wait. I know you're going to do some work around the face too.
Yes.
Really excited to see that open up.
So this has been previously cut, so let's just do this. We can just show a little expanded shape. So as we see,
So here you're cross-checking.
cross-checking, falls down into the outline. Yep, just a little bit of cross-checking just to make sure that the line is correct. All right, falls down, drops out. We're good.
A wise man, who I can't remember who it was, but said to me once that creative haircutting is nothing more than classic haircutting kind of combined together in one shape.
Oh, I agree. I completely
Taking
agree.
a few basic ideas, you don't have to reinvent the wheel if you understand the basics and the fundamentals. But hey, if you want to reinvent the wheel, go for it.
Yeah, cool to see. I think we get so caught up in being just wild and creative. Sometimes just putting, like you said, simple concepts into different positions, like using this rounded zone that I used was really simple, just slight over direction, triangle cutting line, and everything just falls into place, as long as you're understanding the proportions of the head shape.
So now, obviously we've talked about you being an educator and
Yeah.
doing all these great classes. Tell us about your life behind the chair.
My life behind the chair? Well, if I'm not behind the chair, I'm in one
Sometimes
of
you get in front of the chair too.
Sometimes I get in front of the
Or
chair.
on the left or the right.
Yes,
of the chest.
exactly.
Yeah. All around the chair.
Just drop your chin down for me, please. So if I'm not teaching, which is very rare, I have two awesome kids that I like to hang out with that keep me grounded. They could care less that I cut hair. I have an awesome wife who's cool that let me travel the world. But when free time comes around, my son is trying to teach me all these Fortnite dances, which are just blow my mind, just too weird and crazy for my taste.
I like the Fortnite dances.
Oh yeah? Show us your best Orange Justice,
No, I
Gerard.
can't do any of them, but my nephews can do them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it's
Little
non-stop
Charlie
dance.
Perlingiro knows how to do
Oh, does he?
those dances.
Oh
yeah.
man, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
constant dance party.
We had a pizza making contest with all these hairdressers from Japan, and Charlie got them all dancing and doing all the Fortnite dances.
Oh, that's
it was
cool.
Incredible. It was really something else.
That's awesome.
All right, so now after the layers have been cut, you let them drape over, and what happens?
And we just clean up the outline. As anything that falls over the outline, we're just going to clean it up. I have her head positioned away so I can just get in there cleanly, so I'm close to her shoulders. I'm just going to work this in.
Lots of love. We got lots of friends watching. I can't
dude.
even keep up with it.
Uh-oh. It's going to be an
we've got
expensive weekend.
Darren Reitberg, Kate Pierce, Sarah Gardy, Jennifer Vermeer. Lots of people, giving lots of love.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it.
We've got
Greatly appreciate
Marina watching from Guadalajara, Mexico. They're coming in from all over. David Peacemaker says the Cow Salon Academy is awesome, and it is. beautiful facility here with a brand new one opening in Toronto soon. Super exciting. And again, lots of love coming in. People really enjoying what you're sharing.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Samantha Hope says, "Oh, hey, Liana." Is that one of your friends? Wow, you got friends watching too?
She does. She does.
I love you.
So sweet.
So now we're coming to the front.
Yeah, we're gonna work the
All right,
Fringe.
super excited about this. As soon as I saw how pretty Liana was and her beautiful eyes, and Tony said he was going to open it up around the face, I thought that would be great. So we really want to see this now.
Very excited to do this. All right, so we're gonna work the Fringe in.
You can turn her around like this. Makes it easier for you.
No problem. So I think we need to expand this a little bit more. So we're gonna work. I like to work I'll use the tip of my finger for just measurement purposes. It's not exact, but from about the tip of my finger back to about the second knuckle, we're going to work out to right about here where the brow bone is, so we can really open up her face, and also the motion of the fringe will help to do that as well. So I like to stand on the side just like this, so I can draw a straight line. A lot of times I think it's a little bit more difficult to stand in the front and try to make a really clean section. So I'll just stand where I need to, body mechanics, and just draw a straight line down, and I'll do the same thing on the other side.
So you keep talking about body position, body mechanics, and I think obviously that's one of the things that most people don't learn. You know, even if you went to a good school, they kind of focus on just what's happening in your hands. But how important is the body positioning and the body mechanics, as you called it?
I think it just helps you to work a lot easier. Also, it doesn't fatigue you. I think it should be, cutting hair should be a relaxing sort of feeling for you, for your clients.
A little Tai Chi.
Yeah, a little Tai Chi. I guess we could say that's what it was, yeah. But I want it just to be relaxing. If my back hurts at the end of the day, which I don't really want it to, I need to maybe adjust what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So we're going to work this down. I'm just going to flip this hair out of the way. How are we looking so far, guys, online?
Great. Everyone's loving it. They're excited. Actually, Simone Kimpton is worried that her battery life is low. But here's the good news, Simone. After this is done, you can watch it at any time on the Hairbrain page on Facebook.
Yep.
You click on the video section. We've got over 400 of these live lessons that you could watch at any time.
So we're working just horizontal sections right now. The hair's a little bit finer, so using horizontal sections will help me to keep a little bit of weight. So I can control the weight this way. And then afterwards, if I need to detail or thin it out, as some people say, I can do that. But this way I have control. It's all about really controlling the shape so it's a little bit easier. So my first section was elevated. I kept low elevation. Next one's slightly elevated. And then the one from there will be elevated a little bit further. So we're getting a little bit of a layer effect that goes with this and pushes back off of her face.
So how do you determine how to elevate it? Is that just by gut instinct, or are you using the shape of the head?
I like to use the shape of the head at first. So with this right here, since there is recession areas, I keep it a little bit lower so my initial line is very strong. As I work a little bit further up and the head starts to round away from me, I'll elevate a little bit more. And then once I reach this point where the head's going towards the high point, I'll come straight out from the head.
A little progressively elevated off the base. David Peacemaker is wondering about your comb. That is a lovely comb that you have there. What comb are you using?
It is a Sessibon comb.
I'm going to show it to the camera for those who don't know.
It's awesome comb. I love this comb. It's got a little bit of heat resistance, but also it has a little bit of pliability, so it's not super duper rigid. And I like the green color, to be honest with you.
And coincidentally, you can get those at hairbrain.pro, because we always sell the best for our fellow hairdressers. So if you need great cutting combs, check it out.
I believe you sold me these, sir. So, and the clips.
Now, the line across, is it fairly square? So
yes.
Similar to your baseline?
It is, but what is nice, her head narrows out a little bit, so by keeping it square, we have the ability to have this actually become a little bit more triangular, so it parts off of her face. Yeah, it doesn't need to be super complex. We did a square line, slight elevation, so this sits off. It frames the cheekbones. It shows her eyes. It works really, really well that way.
And this is what I was excited for, to see that opening around the face there. Oh, yeah. Just kind of bending that in. Fantastic.
Yeah, can you just look right up for me?
Audrey Naomi Fegan is wondering if you're going to do any point cutting.
We will do a little bit of point cutting. Yes, in a few minutes we're going to do a little bit of point cutting. I'm going to go through do a little point cutting through the fringe. We'll do a little point cutting through the top disconnected area. And then we'll diffuse with some products. So let's just actually cross-check my elevation. Since I cut it horizontally, I will check it vertically. Check my sections. So.
And that's what your progressive elevation created?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If it was all down lower, there'd be much heavier of a corner there, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think that would take away, yes, it would. And I think it would take away from the sweeping of the fringe away from the face. So now, Just like we did with the rest of the haircut, everything was directed back to the center. I'm going to do the same thing with my fringe. So we'll create a little bit of motion off of the center of her part, this way. I think this is really versatile. I'm glad that this type of fringe has become popular. Not only can you push this to the side, it looks really, really flattering, side swept fringe. It can be worn off the center. She can even just kind of just shake it and tuck it behind the ears when it gets long enough. So it works out really, really well.
That was the money right there. Yeah. Melissa Serta is wondering, she says she normally cuts the fringe after drying for fear of taking it too short. Any advice on cutting the fringe before blow drying?
If you're nervous about the hair jumping or moving in an inconsistent way that you're not comfortable with, I would just switch to the wide teeth of your comb and just use a little bit of light tension. There's no need to just like strong arm it and tug on it really, really tightly. That's it.
I think it comes with understanding hair. I mean, looking and seeing if there's any calyx or any movement there. It's a great thing to sometimes have to do it dry, but you don't always have to. There's no always anything, I think, in great hair cutting.
Yes.
It's learning to understand the hair, the texture, the way that it grows.
Agreed. I think we constantly are trying to push the line between actual structure and feel. And I think that's a constant, you're just constantly chasing it like the perfect wave, like the balance of having perfect technique and the hair to have that feel. We don't want it to look so mechanical or like a machine did it. We want it to be personal, be customized to the person when they come in. And we do a great, and I think we do a really nice job at Goldwell with Master Stylist to really discuss personalizing a shape or to make it fit or working with certain textures, how to complement a head shape that might give us a fit when we're working behind the chair.
It sounds like the Master Stylist program is kind of like a journey.
Yes.
To take you from really strong foundations to kind of breaking the rules a little bit and then maybe kind of crafting your own personal approach.
Agreed, yes.
Yeah.
It definitely does that, and it gives you the tools to just go behind the chair. We encourage all the attendees after, when they leave, tag us in your work. We love to see what they're doing. We love to see the progression. We start to feel very proud. I think it's, once I became a dad, you love to watch people be successful and learn and grow, and when they own it and it becomes their own, that's the best reward.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that because, when you talk about seeing people learn and grow and become successful and being proud, I'm proud of you, buddy. Yeah, you're somebody who
Thank you.
I think I've had a little influence in teaching.
Oh, most definitely,
years,
most
right?
definitely.
Done a few classes with me over the years.
Yeah.
And to see your progress over the past 5 years, and now that you're leading a lot of these classes, I'm proud of you, buddy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that so much. It means the world. We have any questions from the crowd? Anybody have any questions?
Lots of love coming in. There's a question from Marcus Shetter. What can cause a hole when creating a fringe from the top? I don't know that I completely understand that question, Marcus. If you could ask it a little bit more.
Please.
But he's saying, what can cause a hole when you're creating a fringe?
When you're creating a fringe, I think either rounding it at a spot where there might be a strong recession. So let's just say...
Yeah, maybe that's what he means, like in the recession area.
If you're here, in this area, if you decide to round this off, right in this area, it can jump because there's less hair. So with there being less hair, even though the line might be straight and be cut perfectly, this will jump up and it will lack the density, so visually look like there's a hole that's going on in it. Hopefully that answers the question, Marcus. If not, please.
Lots of love. A lot of people saying they can't wait. They can never wait to see it done. Like everyone's always like, I can't wait to see it done.
Me too.
Can't wait to see it done.
Me too.
And again, the bangs, everyone's super psyched about the bangs. I think that's the right. So as Liana's hair is starting to dry off, we're starting to see this beautiful color.
Yeah.
So as you kind of start to refine your technique and maybe start to do a little styling, I'm going to bring out Mr. Jeffrey Moffat.
Please do so, please.
So come on up here, Jeffrey. Get up here. Let me introduce you to everyone. This is Jeffrey Moffat. He's another member of the Goldwell KMS team, teaching classes here at the different Cal Salon academies. He's been here this weekend working with Tony on a men's class, but he also does color. And we'll see this when it's totally dry, but even on the camera you can see the beautiful shine. I know you use some of the new pure pigments. Can you break down for us what you did here?
We did. So I really wanted to isolate, when Tony and I talked about the shape that we're going to use, I really wanted to isolate different colors in the zones that he was going to be creating a little bit of this connection. She's never had color, so she wasn't really sold on the idea of doing permanent color. So we stuck with our Colorad's Core range, and we had a little bit of pure pigment. So for Goldwell users, we did our blue lotion, our Colorad's Core, 5BG and 6BP equal parts. For the zone where he put this fringe in, I specifically isolated that out. We did equal parts BG, 6 BP, and I took 10 drops of our At Pure Pigments orange and added it to that.
Now this stuff is incredible. I remember the first time that I saw it under the lights, just
amazing.
blew my mind.
Because I really wanted, her natural color was really beautiful to begin with, so I just wanted to kind of give it a little bit of like glimmering chocolate, yeah? So in the Fringe,
Sounds delicious.
That's just glimmering at the top of my head. So in the front here, because she's got a little tinge of green in her eyes, I wanted to put a little bit of the At Pure Pigments orange in there. And we did the same formula throughout the rest, and we added the At Pure Pigments yellow. We did a full pipette of the At Pure Pigments yellow in the rest of the color. So the At Pure Pigments is really, you're literally adding a holographic, an Instagram, you're adding an Instagram holograph, you're adding a filter to the hair. So it really, they live on their own. To understand this color molecule, it's really an amazing color.
It changes the way it reflects the light.
It reflects the light. You move light one way.
You can see it. You can even see it here on camera. You can see it in person. The Pure Pigments, the way it kind of processes the light and reflects it back. Pretty awesome
the
stuff.
Light reflection is really.
You know what's really cool about that stuff is that, traditionally if you mix yellow and violet together, they cancel each other out.
Right.
But the molecular weight of both of those products, they don't intermix. So your yellow will be yellow and your purple will be purple.
I think the best, when I first saw it, the analogy that worked for me is like a shark skin suit. Depending on which way it moves, it reflects the light differently. So if you haven't tried this product, it's a great additive that you can use with your color formulas. I definitely suggest you try it.
What's cool about these is, like you said, the color molecules live independently from each other. They do not intermix. And with that, you get light reflection from each individual At Pure Pigments that you use in your formula.
Now, I know it's recommended with Goldwell color, but I will say that you can't use it with any color. So I recommend that you try it, even if you don't use Goldwell color. Honestly, nobody heard me say that, but if you do use Goldwell color, great. But if you don't, try it anyway. It's amazing. All right, so let's get into the styling now. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Of course.
Yes.
So this is something brand new.
It is. It drops May 1st, if I'm not mistaken. May 1st, surf oil. So it's this beautiful mixture. It gives you the feel of having, this salty beach hair, and who doesn't like that whole idea of just shine, a little bit of grip, and as everyone says, I love my hair at the beach. I think most people can say they love the texture that they get from the beach. This is great on damp hair. It's great. You can just kind of rehydrate and use it to do that.
Yeah, you use it pretty liberally, so you don't have to be too light with it, huh?
No, I don't think so.
I love the way that you can see how beautiful it looks on the camera.
It's a nice shot.
Yeah.
I used a little bit of it, well, when I mean a little bit, a bottle and a half over the course of a couple months, and I went pretty heavy with it just to test it out. I think one thing that I learned from you one day, I was taking a class, and you're like, just mess with it, try it dry, try it wet, try it in between, and not only is this great for just natural texture, diffusing, but you can blow dry with it, puts a beautiful amount of grip, but it's not something that gets your hands all like tacky or crazy feeling. It just has a real beautiful texture, a beautiful shine, just to give it that beach feel.
So again, Tony's talking about the new product from the Curly Twist line, which is called Salty Oil Spray. And is this out yet, or is
May 1st? May 1st it comes out.
May 1st, so any day now. Sneak peek. We love that. So any tips here on diffuse drying? Is the blow dryer and the type of diffuser important for you here?
So we're using a Varus blow dryer with a Varus diffuser.
Take that diffuser off for a minute and show how that works, because I love this thing. Show how it folds up.
It's collapsible. It's great. It just fits right in your kit. It's fantastic. So we got this little collapsible diffuser. Boom.
So that's pretty cool.
It's great. Yeah, it goes right on. It's universal, so if you don't have a Varus blow dryer and you want to purchase this, you can purchase the Varus diffuser.
And that's part of the kind of the Goldwell family.
Yes,
Varus.
this is part of our
Varus
family.
Hot Tools.
Yes.
Awesome.
Beautiful, lightweight, universal. So if you don't have a Varus blow dryer, you can still use the diffuser. It works really, really well.
Now, I notice you're always working with the airflow going down. How important is that to you?
For me right now, I'm just trying to get a little bit of extra moisture off, and I'm using my hands to just sculpt the curls. Just to scrunch and push and just create a little bit of shape. Now we could tilt your head upside down if she was home. I'd say, all right, Liana, when you're home, you can put a diffuser on and turn your head upside down if you would like to. This will give her something closer to the image of what she would normally do by just putting on her product and walking to the train and getting on the train or getting on her Uber. So this is going to give her that look of what she normally does at home.
And now, what exactly with your hands? What's the tip with the hands
I'm
here?
just trying to create a little bit of just bend in the hair, really, just shaping the curls. I'm not picking up a lot of hair and really like pushing it up and down, back and forth. I think that'll create a little bit more frizz.
Are you doing a lot more of this natural hand styling? I mean, we're definitely seeing that trend happen on social media. People getting away from the big blowout.
I love it.
Are you doing that behind the chair?
I am doing this behind the chair. I think a lot of people want to know how to, do their curls. You can just twist some areas, and every day this can look a little bit different. So maybe she doesn't want to wear her hair in a different style, but just her choice of tool, whether it be using the diffuser by itself, using like twisting the curls like I'm doing right now.
So any tips there with the twisting?
Just be gentle with it. You don't need to rough it up. When you place the product in the hair, I think it's important to almost have that like squish kind of feel when you apply the product. If you have that
going on. Is that a technical term?
Yeah, it is.
Squish?
It's just the squish. Yeah, the squish. But just that little bit of sound, you know that the hair is really saturated. A lot of times people use half the amount of product that they really need to do to make their hair wavy or curly without having tons and tons of frizz.
And what's your philosophy here? Do you believe in drying it all the way, or you like leaving it a little damp?
If I start to like the way it looks, I'll leave it be. If she's cool with it, like, oh, I think it's really pretty like this, then we'll leave it. If it's not dry enough for her, like I do have some clients that like their curls dried completely before they leave, and that's fine, and that's how we'll have them leave.
Nancy Linda is asking about the product. She must have missed it. This is Curly Twist. It's the Salty Surf Oil Spray, and it's new from Goldwell Style Selling.
Yep.
Lots of love coming in. Sarah Matthews says she loves this look on you. You look so artsy. Beautiful Tony. Lots of love. I love to use the diffuser instead of a fancy blowout. She has a great natural wave.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're seeing more and more wave come back to these days, guys. So don't be afraid to suggest it. If you have a client that you've been blowing their hair out all the time, it's a lot of them don't wear it natural because no one's ever shown them what products to use or how to do it. We go on automatic pilot and we do a blowout on everyone. But sometimes you'd be surprised. You say, hey, would you like to try it natural? And what about the settings on the blow dryer here?
Right now, I'm just using a low setting, and it's just medium heat. Now, you could go a little bit higher with the heat if you'd like to. I worry for right now, since we're recording, that if I made it too high, we couldn't speak and no one could hear our voice. Just kind of going through, encouraging the curl a little bit, if you wanted to. Now, client comes in and wants a little bit more volume, just leave your head back just a little bit. You just do this. Place the diffuser in there. I'm not moving it around, just letting it sit. You okay? The heat? All right.
There's a good question coming in from Tammy. She wants to know, essentially you mentioned before about being a dad has helped you to want to see others succeed.
Yeah.
How do you manage being a parent and being successful?
Well,
because I know I couldn't.
I'm still trying. I have a really amazing wife who lets me.
Good answer.
Yeah, no, that is the real answer. She's the real star of the show. She's the one that pushes me a lot. Like when you have those off days where you feel like you haven't done something or nailed it, or I don't use the word she keeps me in line, but she kind of keeps me in line. She's awesome like that.
So really coming together beautifully. Now that's the thing with diffusing. It's just like baking. Like you got to get it to that right point.
Yes.
You pull it out of the oven 1 minute too soon or 1 minute too late, and you kind of lose it. Not that I've ever baked anything, but that's kind of what they tell me.
That's what I've heard.
You get the heat right, the ingredients right, and it starts to come together to make this beautiful, quite simple bohemian look. Again, if you're just joining us, you can go back at any time on our Facebook page and watch the whole process, show how Tony layered it. He's got different panels of layers that overlap each other. You can see how it was colored. And yes, we did have a question before about color. So it was colored very, very gently. And a lot of what we used were the new pure pigments to enhance shine and vibrancy and reflection. It's a great new product from Goldwell. And now we're coming to the very end
here.
here.
I'm going to put some finishing touches on it.
Finishing touches. Yes. So do you think you're going to need to do any dry cutting, or you feel
I'm really pleased with the way the shape looks. I don't think we need to take a lot of bulk or soften anything out of this. I think that this connection lent itself to that. Also, I'm not a fan of really overly texturizing.
I'm going to take off this cape.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it. Go for it. So we're going to use a little bit of dry boost. This is coming out as well. Made first. So I like this product. Just put a little bit of...
Now what is that? Is it a dry shampoo?
It is. So think of the feeling you can get from some of those grippy dry shampoos, but it actually builds a little bit of bulk. So it's great for curls. It's great for second day hair. It's not cleansing. So there's no mattifying or anything like that. But it's beautiful. It's dry. You can just spray it right into the hair.
Yeah, let's show that to the camera.
Yeah, go for it.
So another new product in the Style Sign line from Goldwell. Always coming out with fabulous new products. Again, while we're here, I want to personally thank Goldwell for the many years of support. Goldwell, as a Hairbrain sponsor, they were one of our very first from the very beginning, and we've had a great relationship and shared so much great education over the years. Always so proud of that. I want to thank my man Tony Cola for his debut on HB Live. I think he did an amazing job.
Thank you.
Shared incredible education, and thank you to you, the viewers, for contributing so much positive feedback and so many great questions. We love you guys. Peace out. Thank you for being such a great model.
Don't forget, GoWellKMSregistration.com. Sign up for Master Stylist program. See you guys soon. Take care.